Why be easy when you can just die? Woo! Wow, I'm Chewy Mew. Welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew video, where today I'm going to be showing off some customs, multiple customs, I guess-ish, that I've made recently. And today that custom is sort of an amalgamation of other figures. It's kind of like a fodder custom in a way. And the figure we have here is the ToyBiz Marvel Legends Fearsome Foes box set Spider-Man. And the camera's not focusing on him. Come on. What the heck, dude? Okay, I'm gonna... Bang, there we go. Now he's in focus. Is he? Oh, yeah, okay, there we go. He's in focus. So, yeah, this is the Fearsome Foes box set Spider-Man. And he uses the same body as McFarlane Spider-Man. So, for this custom, you could use McFarlane as well. Honestly, you could use maybe any body, any Spider-Man body you want. You could even use Snapshot Spider-Man. Actually, I don't think you can. I don't think you could use Snapshot Spider-Man because, you see the head shapes are different. So I don't really think that head would work on this body. I think he's a little too bulky for the skinnier Spider-Man figures. Focus on this guy. Let me straighten out the arms here. So it is the same as McFarlane, so that works too. Unfortunately, my McFarlane Spider-Man has suffered some damage. And since he broke in such a way, basically his torso broke along with his head sculpt being damaged. Basically his pelvis, the ab crunch, and the chest part here broke. So I've been slowly using him for fodder. Like I used his arms for a custom Peter B. Parker from Into the Spider-Verse. I've used some other parts from for other customs and stuff. And since he had multiple fingers, I gave it to my Fearsome Foe figures. Because when I got these in a mystery box, he was actually missing... This one was missing 2 fingers, and the other one didn't have any fingers at all on the hinges. He only had the thumb, which is sculpted on. So he was missing all the fingers, which was pretty horrible. Move my camera back. It feels like it's too far away from me. There's like hair on him, like fuzz. And so I'm going to be using this guy for the custom, which it doesn't require any modification or anything. It's pretty simple, actually. I mean, not really, though. And so the first thing involved was I had to boil this sucker. This one specifically, I actually didn't have to boil him. I could just take the head off of him. But if you do this along with me, do not just pull the head off. Mine has been cut and modified so it comes off. And basically what I did was, you boil this sucker. In this case, I didn't have to boil it. Some figures you don't have to boil, but I would just say, for the sake of not risking ruining it, just boil it and take the head off or use the hair dryer. And then I took a knife like this and just kind of cut plastic off to give it this flat sort of pin look to it so I can just pop the head on and off as I please. Taking the head off. I also did some boiling to the, let me put the head back on here. To the, oops, is the head on all the way? Oh, crap, there's clay on it. It's not going to stick too good. On the Spider-Man Classics Series 1 Spider-Man, and by boiling the head, I can take the head off now. There's clay in there, so it didn't come on perfectly. And there's like a little hook that sticks off the ball joint here. Little hook right there. I cut it off and I sanded it down so I can take the head off easier. Or easily. And then there's a bunch of clay stuck here in the head. I don't know why the lighting feels like there's so much shadows coming from the left side over here. But by doing that, I'm able to pop the head on here. And then bam, look at that. That looks pretty cool. So now, because this head sculpt is, I think this head sculpt is Bagley. I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that this head sculpt is kind of the Bagley design with the big eyes. A little like kind of a Bagley hybrid, a Bagley McFarlane hybrid a little bit. It's funny how right here on the screen right there, there's the timer that shows how long the video recording, and it covers his face. So I got to move it up so I can actually see it. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. And I think this works for Bagley. I think this one works as well. This one does have the more McFarlane spider logo on the front and the back compared to this one as the... more like the Bagley design. This is kind of like a mix between Bagley and McFarlane. And this one is kind of the same as well. Just, it's kind of similar to it. And I feel like this works because Bagley typically drawed Spider-Man, drawed is not a word, dude. He drew Spider-Man pretty skinny like this. Not like skinny, like crazy skinny. But he drew him skinny, but you can still tell he's kind of ripped here. Like he's still pretty ripped. He's not like bodybuilder level. He's not like, Snapshot Spider-Man level of ripped, like with huge shoulders and huge thighs and stuff. But he's pretty muscular still, like Spider-Man should be. And I think this figure's pretty cool. And I think this head sculpt works pretty good on this as well. Depending on how much clay you put in here, your results will vary. And of course, spoilers, like I said, you will need this head sculpt to actually make this custom. And I'm not one of those people that could probably sculpt a head out of clay or, you know, like cast it or whatever, like with a 3D printer or something. I don't have that kind of skill, or a 3D printer. But, you know, if you're somehow able to get that figure, this figure, or get the head, you could probably do this custom. You don't even need this figure. You could just, basically any figure that has a huge ball joint head will work for this, because, like, you just stick some clay in the head and then pop it on. And this is just like clay that doesn't dry, and to take it out, I can use like a knife here to just dig the clay out. And I do have another figure that I'm going to be customizing, which is the Humberto Ramos Spider-Man, which, you know, I'm one of those people, the clay's not coming out, but that's okay. I'll do it off camera. But as far as that other custom goes, that one takes a little bit more work. And the weird thing is, like this figure, I don't really need to make a custom Bagley, because this is basically, it's the Bagley Spider-Man, so I don't really need a custom for him, because I have a Bagley figure. I also did have the Humberto Ramos Spider-Man figure, and here's his head sculpt, and here are his hands. A little bit of white webbing in them. I tried taking it off and it didn't work, and this was before I figured out the method of how to paint in web lines on figure heads. Before I figured out how to do that, so I hadn't done this yet, and I completely forgot before doing this video, because I just pulled these out of the fodder box to do this. Oops. And also, it's pronounced Humberto Ramos, because it's Spanish. I've heard a lot of people say Humberto Ramos, which, fun fact, in Spanish, when there's an H and a U next to each other, you don't pronounce the H is silent, so it's Humberto, and then the R is not like like in English, it's like a D, ra, like a ra kind of sound. In this case, Humberto, and then there's a T, and then Ramos, like Ramos, you know, not Ramos, you know, but either way. And so these hands I took these hands off here. I used the custom to make a silver armor Spider-Man, but then I got the actual official figure, and then I decided to just use the rest of that custom figure for fodder, and I used the head sculpt and the hands for this custom here. And so as far as the head sculpt goes, here it is. I repainted it a little bit to be closer to this color, because the original, like, Humberto drew Spider-Man with a little bit of orange. You can see this has like a slight orange tint to it, compared to this head sculpt, which is, you know, like a more red kind of color. You can see this is a little slightly more orange. I didn't want to customize this body and tried painting this, but there was no good way to paint it without the webs turning red. And as far as this goes, he did have a big ball joint head. So I think you were able to stick this head onto this body. But what I did was I took a piece of plastic here, and this came from the Hasbro brown costume Spider-Girl. Move the camera down here a bit. But you could basically use any Hasbro figure. This here is the Carnage from the Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure wave. And basically what you do is you take a knife. I'm not going to do it to this one. Or no, I'll do it, whatever. And then you want to take it. Of course, spoilers, you will ruin the body part by doing this. But you basically want to dig out plastic out of the joint. Preferably, you'd want to cut this apart. And you can't really use this arm after you do this because it'll be ruined. And then you want to cut off enough plastic until you can stick the peg on here. And then you want to cut it so it fits on, but not super loose, but not super tight. It's better to have it be tight and have to loosen it than make it too loose, because then if you make it too loose, it's basically ruined. And then by doing that, you can stick the head on here. Also, this only works for ToyBiz figures. For Hasbro, you'd probably have to do more dremeling, because a ball joint like this kind of ball joint head will not fit on a Hasbro figure. I mean, actually, let me test it here. I just have a shocker. This is the closest Hasbro figure I have to me. And I mean, you can put it on, but the head looks, I mean, obviously you can't put it on like a body bigger than like Spider-Man's. I have the Miles Morales here from the Gamerverse. I'm so scared with these heads because they have the stupid ball joint here that I feel like I'm going to break the neck. And this one, that one fits. I mean, obviously this doesn't, the color scheme doesn't work, or maybe that does. You could actually, you could probably swing that. That could probably work. You could even paint that colors, you could even paint out the colors of Miles's costume and maybe have it work. But yeah, most Hasbro figures, like I'm pretty sure Pizza Spider-Man's ball joint is too big for this, or the Retro Spider-Man. But also Retro Spider-Man is pretty thick, so I don't think this would work. Then you can see like this head's too small for this body. The head would look a little off, you know? And so by sticking the head on here, we have a sort of ish Humberto Ramos Spider-Man, and we can also take off the hands here. And then these hands actually, because ToyBiz did weird stuff sometimes where you can see these hands have a hole in them now. They didn't always have a hole. And you can see his arm here has like a pin sticking out, and then his hands have a hole. On the Humberto Ramos Spider-Man, for some reason, the hands had the pin, and then the arm had the hole in it, so it was reversed. So I had to drill a hole on this to make it stick, and unfortunately I drilled too big of a hole on this hand, so I have to put clay to make it stay in place. And then this hand, also do not just pull the hands off like that. I cut off plastic, I sanded down the joint, I sanded down the joint, I cut some plastic off and sanded it down to make it really thin like that so I can stick it on. But if you do this, again, be careful and do not cut off the pin. I would suggest don't do this unless you're crazy like me and you're okay with potentially ruining a figure. And then look at that. Now you have a sort of Humberto Ramos Spider-Man. Unfortunately, his boots had the same problem where on Fearsome Foes body, his boots have, like this joint right here, his shin upper here, has like a pin that goes down like this, and then his boot has a hole, but, or no, reverse. Or no, is it? I don't remember. Because here's Humberto Ramos's foot. I think his foot had the opposite problem, where his foot had the pin, and then his foot had a hole. Or no, the leg here had a pin, but then his this joint right here had a thing. I don't remember. It was like backwards, and then I cut it, but then I can't put it on because look how big the foot is. Like if it should be like about that, but then if I put it on, he looks crazy tall and it looks disproportionate. Like the hands look disproportionate, but that's how it looks on purpose. But putting the legs on, his legs are way too long for his body. But if there's a way that I could somehow attach this here, and also the way this ankle joint is, I can't just swap out his feet only, because the way the feet are structured. There probably is a way it could be done, but I don't want to risk messing up this figure. Here it does have a broken ankle here, or like a broken boot cut, and I don't want to risk ruining that anymore. But look at that. Now you have like a sort of Humberto Ramos-ish Spider-Man figure. And that's pretty much all the head sculpts I have to put on this guy. I did try Sinister Six Spider-Man's head sculpt on here, and it doesn't work because the head sits a little too high up. Trying to see if I can get him in like a pose here. The hands do come off, so you can't wiggle this guy around or anything. The hands will come off. Obviously, the better you do it, I guess the more effectively you cut the ball joints off here, the better it works. My problem here was that I don't have any drill bits that are the perfect size for this. My drill bits either were way too small for this, or they were way too big. So I had to, I don't know, it worked out kind of, it didn't, I mean, it works. It could be a lot cleaner, you know, if I had the right things. Really not a good pose there, but you know, that kind of pose. So yeah, if you want to make this custom, you're going to need a drill. You're going to need a lot of like fodder stuff. I would recommend probably don't risk this. This video is not so much a tutorial of like, hey guys, look, you can make this custom. It's more a matter of, hey, look at the custom I made. You could do it, but I wouldn't suggest doing it, you know? Like, this is the kind of custom that, like, if you screw up and, like, if somehow you break his disc hinge neck, like, if you somehow break this joint, you're going to be looking pretty screwed. You're going to have to find a way to, like, fix the whole neck, and then if you mess up the head sculpt, I mean, But if you mess up a figure, especially using an expensive figure or expensive and rare figure like Fearsome Foes, even this guy is kind of rare. The Humberto Ramos Spider-Man here is probably the least rare. I think you can probably find it on eBay for like 12 bucks. I think I got it for like $12 or something, or $8. It's cheap, but still, don't risk. It's not worth it. Risk ruining figures. I decided just to risk it. Just because I'm crazy, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. But as far as that goes, I think this custom came out looking pretty good. So let me know which head sculpt you think looks better on it. This one or this one. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this video. Alright, so here are both of the figures with the interchangeable head sculpts, or with the swapped head sculpts. I have two what's it called, Fearsome Foes Spider-Man figures. I got both of them in mystery boxes. I didn't actually didn't want to show this one on camera because his hand was broken, but I decided, you know what, screw it. I'm going to take like a 5-minute break from the recording to fix it, and I fixed it. It's kind of sloppy. I could probably do a lot better, but it was just kind of just to quickly make the custom, just to show it here, or to fix it just to show it here really quick. But yeah, let me know which out of these two you feel like the head sculpt looks better. I feel like I like this one more. I feel like that fits the body more. The Humberto Ramos Spider-Man does have a bit of he does have like a bit of a thicker chest and stuff, like a bigger torso kind of, with like really wide ribs. Like here on the side, his ribs are pretty wide. Unfortunately, since I kind of ruined mine doing customization and stuff here and there, I don't have that one anymore. But if for some reason, you know, I get rich or something, or I somehow find one on eBay for like $4, then I might buy another one just to have it, you know, not ruined. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But either way, that is actually all for this video now. Put them here just for fun. But yeah, that's all for this video. Let me know which of these two you like better, which one do you think fits better on this body. But yeah, that's all for this video. I will see you guys in the next review. And if you like this video, you know, let me know. Bye, guys.